Well, hey, everyone.
Hello, hello,
It's
hello.
to you now, and
Dr. Michael Gross, welcome everybody. Thank you for
we are
joining.
so happy. Whoops, I'm sorry, talked right over you.
It's all right. Go ahead.
We're so happy that you're joining in. Um, we do a Thursday night, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time message, and Michael has an awesome message for us tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled to pieces that everybody's popping on, and I'm going to go ahead, Michael, and just introduce you because that way we can get right to the meat of the matter. Because tonight's topic is your life experiences, and it's part one.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for joining me. If you like
Wait,
this,
I haven't introduced you yet.
all right.
It's okay. It's okay. Um, Doctor, I'm going to read this only scripted part that we do. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their own intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the true source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. He remains humble, knowing that the work that he does all comes from God, the true source. He lives in Lakewood, Washington, and has recently launched his new nonprofit. And I would love it if you take a minute, Michael, and tell the people about your nonprofit before you get into the topic.
Sure. The International Institute of Self Empowerment, as we call it, TISI. Thank you very much. It's a 501c3. It's all about working and assisting abused women and children and men. And when the Spirit said for me to form this, I did. Didn't know how I was going to use it, but it's going to have 12 different arms, so to speak. And the first one is dealing with abused women, children, and men. And Tissy is looking forward to all of you to helping you in whatever way we can. And working with Tia Knapp, she wrote the book Healing the Holes in Your Soul about being abused, taken advantage of. I asked her if she would please be director in charge of abused women, children, and men. So we're really getting excited. I know we've been talking about this for a while, but everything worthwhile takes a little time to perfect and get it going. And we are working on it, but we would appreciate, it's coming up with tax season. So if you would like to make a charitable donation, you'll find the information in the chats how to do that. So thank you. So this evening, I'm going to be talking about your life experiences. And I thought I'd address that because of so many things that are going on in this planet. And there's a lot of chaos, a lot of fear, a lot of doubt. We're going through an inflationary period. And we're also going through a period of insecurity, wondering what are we doing? What's happening in our lives? But something miraculous is happening because the planetary energy at this time is forcing us to look back on our life. When I say look back, it may not be intentional, but you'll remember something that occurred or something pushes your button or something that you were frightened or ashamed of or something that went on in your past life. So, what I'd like to do is address some of that in a very powerful way. And then when I address it in a powerful way, I would like you to understand that every experience has empowered you. Instead of looking at it as chaos, I made a mistake, I screwed up, and so on and so forth. As you remember, some of you in my past talks, I said there's no such thing as failure. You never failed. It's really success because you learned at what worked and didn't work. But look at everything in your life that occurred. And I was talking to one of my young man, potential client, and he was talking about how his mother was this and his mother was that, and on and on and on and on. And I said, stop for a minute. And I want to be neutral because I'm not going to defend your mother and all her idiosyncrasies. But what I want you to understand is that when we have a child, the first thing that happens is the mother has an intuitive or psychic tie. The reason she does is because she's carrying the child in the womb. And every thought, every emotion that she has, the child is picking up while she's pregnant. And everything the father, those souls around her, people around her say something, that child will also pick up and hear. Now, a lot of you may be saying that's a definite maybe. Well, years ago they used to talk about if you play music, soft music, or classical music, the baby's calmer, and all these tests have proved it. But in my life experiences, I had one client, and she was about 45, and she had low self low self esteem all her life, and she was overweight because of that. And so, in working with her, we discovered that when she was in the womb of her mother said, I wish I never had this baby. When she confronted her mother said, how'd you know that? I never told anybody. So, we call it interural, and that is where a lot of experiences that happen, you as the fetus and your soul is understanding, picking up, and embellishing, and also adopting and making your own those thoughts and those energies. And so here you come through the womb, and you're a child, and you have all these little fears, doubts, so low self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem, or some semblance of that. And what I'd like us all to understand is that we chose these experiences to empower ourselves. So look at that. Every time that something didn't work out, which you may call failure, you learned something new, and it made you more successful. How did it make you more successful? Well, the answer is obvious. You learn what works and what didn't work, what to do and not do. But that's only for that period of your life. Perhaps things are changing. And many, many years ago, some of you don't know, but there was a TV program, but also a cartoon called Dick Tracy. And Dick Tracy would talk into his watch, and he would say car number 27, and he's chasing down the bad guys. Well, look what you do with your watch now. You thought it was fun, you made fun of it, and so on. They actually had a watch about 10 years ago where you could actually talk into, and you can talk into your cell phone now, but it was really a watch, and they do have a watch that can do that. So many of the things in life is what it makes us strong. And, when I was talking to another client, well, we were poor, and I had to work for everything I want. Oh, pity me, poor me. And I said to them, well, what are you doing now? Well, I'm successful now. Why are you successful? Well, because I knew nobody would help me, so I had to learn on my own. Oh, wasn't that a great experience? Because you learn that nobody's going to give you a handout. You have to make it happen yourself. Isn't that empowering? And the person stopped to think about it. So think about all the things you've done. And this particular client that I was talking about, all the superstitions and belief systems her mother had from a foreign country. And I said, but that's the modus operandi. That's what your mother's learned. That was the book she learned with. And I will tell you that you have adopted some of those things, or you'll change them with your children when the time is right. But you've gained knowledge. Then I had another mother tell me she was tough and demanding on her children and very cold. And she felt guilty about it. She said, but that's the way I was brought up. I said, well, were you successful? Yes. And now she wants to get more, let's say, cozy and loving towards her children. And I advised her to have a little conversation and say, this is what I brought up with, this is what I understood. And I realized that I was too independent or too strong or too demanding. But how are your children doing? Well, they're a successful doctor or an entrepreneur or whatever. Said you gave them a gift. Well, I was mean to them. Yeah, you were. But you gave them a gift. You gave them a gift of self worth, self love, and self-empowerment. So everything you've experienced, even in relationships where, your first love, everybody had their first love and it didn't work out and they were heartbroken, but you learned something from that. And what if we turned around and say, look, these are all the things I went through and look what it's done for my life. Now you have a choice. When you look at all those things that were challenging, probably made you cry or hurtful, one item in all those things are you chose those experiences to empower you. That's what I'd like you to view it as. You chose them to empower you. And that's a very difficult lesson. You're probably saying, why would I do that? I don't know why. You chose it, your decision. Maybe that's the only way you could learn. Maybe it had to be so earth shattering, in your opinion, that that's the way you were to learn. And we know with children, there are two ways. One, you can explain things and they'll grasp it. The other one is defiant and has to learn the hard way. And at one time or another, we've been both. But just look at the wisdom of what you have imparted in your life experiences. And just because something didn't work 10 years ago, 20 years ago, doesn't mean it won't work now. And I remember many, many years ago in the 70s, I had an accountant. And he said, Michael, I'm going to invest in spring water and bottling water. And I kind of looked at him and said, well, we get it out of the tap for free. I mean, why would people want to buy spring water? Well, then I began to see with all the chlorine and smell the chlorine and everything, we wanted pure water. At first, I kind of in my mind poo-pooed it, so it's foolish. And then after a few months, I looked back and went, no, it's a smart thing to do. So look at all those things that have occurred and look at all the changes that is occurring in your life. Therefore, what your truth was 20 years ago is not your truth now. Look at all the changes that have come about so quickly. Polaroid camera. They were one of the top stocks to buy, and like overnight, they just went because of cell phones and photographs. They could have been part of it, but they were too stubborn. And then we look at Kodak film. It's very hard to find anymore because you have digital cameras. And they were one of the top companies. So all these companies, all these people, because they were stubborn and didn't want to change, and look at life experiences. See, life experiences is a series of incidents that empowers you but keeps changing and changing and changing and changing and changing. I'm sure when the Bell telephone, Alexander Graham Bell came out with the telephone, they said, who needs that? That's foolish and stupid. Look how we're tied to our cell phones now. Look how much our life has changed. More importantly, when we reflect back on our experiences, do we say we're sorry, it was horrible, it was terrible, or do we look back and say it was something pretty wonderful because I learned something new? And how you chose to learn it is as painful as you want it to be, or as easy as you want it to be. Doesn't give us an excuse to have things go awry, but it gives you an understanding of why you chose it. And why you chose it is to make the next step forward in your life, like an evolution. Because you see, we are here to awaken from our deep slumber, to have love and joy and happiness, to heal this planet. But also, you are the leader, you are the president, you're the chairman of the board of your family, no matter what sex you are. And you are the teacher to your family, and you're the inspiration to your family. And not only to your family, but to your siblings, your children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, and so on and so forth. They will tell stories about you for a couple of generations. And now with the computer, you can talk in about your experiences. You can do all those things that'll be with us on in perpetuity. But your life experience is one thing that nobody could take away from you. Tio, you wanted to say something.
I do. When you talk about life experiences, can you define it a little bit more? Because sometimes when things happen, you what happened, things that happen to me, I'll just speak for myself. Um, I'm like, did that really happen? There's no scientific proof to explain what just happened, and I get into that kind of analogical thinking.
When you say that, well, let me explain something to you. And that's a very good thought. So you're probably saying, why was I abused? Why was I raped? Why was I beaten? Why did I become an alcoholic? Why did I become a druggie? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Why did I do all these things? Well, like I said, we can learn two ways. Somebody can explain something to you and you get it, or you could do it the hard way. So a lot of souls have chosen to do it the hard way through drugs, alcohol, physical, mental or abuse, emotional abuse, or even their egos get in the way and they've had businesses that were tremendous and they just fell apart or whatever. Because we have to learn from every experience. The term is a golden nugget. That's what they use today in business. And every experience is a golden nugget, and every experience empowers you. Your wisdom comes from your experiences. You just didn't sit there at age 12. I know all things about the universe. No, you didn't. Unless you Google it. And we all know if you Google something, how could you be wrong? And everything you see on the internet must be true. Being a little humorous here. But what is indelible within your life is your experience. And you're probably, scratching your head and saying, why the heck did I choose this path? Well, the answer is obvious. Because you see in past lives, you didn't get it yet. So you said, on this reincarnation, I want it to be so gosh darn tough, I finally get it right. Here's the secret. Once you get it right, it's over and done with. What is occurring at this time, and I've observed karma over my lifetime. Remember, karma is nothing but an experience. Sometimes it gets a bad rap, and we say negative karma. And by the way, the word for positive karma is dharma with a D, although you don't hear that used too much. So sometimes I'm going to use the word dharma or karma. Then I want to get back to the word of karma. So once you learn something, maybe about self worth, self love, and self esteem, it's over and done with. But what I've noticed people is they'll hang on to it as an excuse for the rest of their lives. I don't know about you, but I want to move forward in my life. And all those experiences, some I'm happy and proud of, and others that have been painful and I'm ashamed of. But Shakespeare said, we have had many exits and many entrances. Kind of interesting how he put exits first instead of entrances. And every life experience that you've had is something you desire to be created in your life to empower you. Isn't that wonderful? To empower you. So, what is empowering you? You feel great, you feel happy, you feel your life is good, you can't wait to wake up in the morning, perhaps take a walk, see the sunshine, maybe go to work, have a conversation. Our life now, for the most part, is very tedious. We are becoming robotic. We get up, we go to the bathroom, we have a coffee, we may listen to the news, we get in the car, or we work from the home, and that's what we're doing. So, what do people want to do? Well, I need a vacation, I need a vacation, I need a vacation. And the expression, you need a vacation from your vacation, because it's hard to get back in the groove again. Instead of saying you need a vacation, which is not a bad idea, the most important thing is, what do you need to do to let go of your past that you feel you're shackled to and create joy and happiness in your life at this moment, this second? What do you need to do? Well, I can give you general ideas, but of course, many of you can have better ideas. But you need to let go of the past. Let go of all those experiences that you felt shackled you to the past that hindered your life, and then move forward. As the true source said, the past predicts the present predicts the future. So if you had a fear of swimming in the past, it's going to be in the present, it's going to be in the future. Well, how about changing that? How about declaring this incident, this experience I've empowered and learned from? Now it's time for to move on and let go. But really mean it. You know what? It will just dissipate. You'll remember it to some extent, but there'll be no emotion attached to it. It's like, when you broke your wrist, let's say, painful as heck at age 6. Now you're 40. Yeah, I know. I sprained my wrist or broke my wrist. It hurt. Let's go out and have a spaghetti dinner. It'll be that kind of situation. The reason I'm elaborating on this and doing part 1 and part 2 is because this is a time of reflection. It's a time, as I said, of karma that used to take 10 and 20 years. Then I watched it down to 10 years, 5 years. And now I see karma coming back in 1 year or less. So when I'm talking about karma, experiences that are painful and experiences that are joyful. But remember, you're in charge of your life. I'm looking at a time. We got a few more minutes. So what's so important for all of you? You have to change your mindset. And you have to look at everything with joy and happiness. Give thanks for my job. I give thanks for this breakfast. I give thanks for the friends around me. I give thanks for my experiences that empowered me. And whatever the universe goes, what you give thanks for, it means we're going to bring more things into your life to give thanks. Not that are painful, but bring you joy and happiness. People that love you and care for you and want to support you. Look at our world today. It's becoming reclusive because of the COVID. And it's kind of difficult to get out. And people are living in fear of the flu, RSV, the COVID. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? And now we got inflation. Are we going to have enough money? There are shortages. Don't buy into all that stuff. Just know I don't know what's going to happen. I don't care. All I know is I'm going to survive and have love and joy and happiness in my life. Because what you think, you create, and what you create, you experience. Remember that. It's important. Each morning, each time this experience that comes up, and if it's been joyous and happy, give thanks for that. And if it comes up and it's challenging, give thanks and declare, what am I to learn from this? And what you have learned it, it's over and done with. So I want to thank all of you and remind you that TU and I will be on next Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I want to share something with you. See me leaning over? And what I want to share with you is that this is brought to you by Healing the Holes in Your Soul, a beautiful book of survival of the Phoenix Rising from the Ashes by TU Nap.
And by the Spiritual Primer, written by the amazing Dr. Michael Gross, who wrote the foreword in my book. And as I always say, if it wasn't for this book and this fine gentleman next to me, the book he's holding wouldn't have been written. So definitely, everybody has a book inside them. And these books are pieces that can help us all, every single one of us. So, Michael, you do some things throughout the week. Tuesday night, I know. Why don't we go into that, and I'll give the phone numbers, okay?
Perfect. So every Tuesday night from 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 7:30 Pacific Standard Time, you have the opportunity to, I'm going to call it words of wisdom, for you to call in and ask any questions you desire about spirituality. And at the end, I deliver a 10-minute little motivational method. And the motivational message, there are, how many do we have now to you?
Probably 275, around there.
Right, between 275 plus or minus. And the most important thing about this is it's 10 or 12 minutes long, a couple a little longer, most of them. So you're stuck in traffic or you're busy or whatever, this is going to empower you and you go, oh, that's the perfect one for me to listen to. I don't know what number, but it's 3 through 275. Whatever number you pick will be perfect. But before I give you what I call the replay number. I invite all of you to share with your friends, to call in each Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And the telephone number for that is?
That number is 202-926-1059. And the access code, Michael?
125-446 pound.
I'll give it one more time. It's 202-926-1059. And the code?
The access code is 125-446 pound. And using the same telephone number and same code, the second Saturday of every month, we do what I call a mass consciousness healing. It's very, very dear to my heart. And it goes from 9:55 a.m. Pacific time to 11:01 Pacific time. And the first couple of minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, I talk, and then it's done in silence. And then in the end, 3 or 4 minutes before we end, I speak again. So if you happen to join us in and you're a little late and hear silence, just know we're in meditation. And the telephone numbers are the same as the Tuesday night. We'll just give that one more time. 202.
It's 202-926-1059. And the access code?
125-446 pound. Also, what I mentioned about the words of wisdom, which is the replay, here's the telephone number and the access code. What is the telephone number again?
Sure, I've got everything in the comments as well, but the recording number is 434-300-4170, and the access
code is the same, 125-446 pound. Then I ask you what number, and you just press number 3 through 275. Don't worry about the one, whatever number you push. I can't tell you. They say, oh, it's just what I needed to hear. So don't worry about that. We'll give that number one more time.
Absolutely. It's 434-300-4170, and the access code?
125-446 pound. So everybody, we invite you all, because what I want you to know is you are the solution. You can make a difference. And I have to tell you, your participation, your love, and your voice is needed to make a difference on this planet. We're coming into challenging times, so we can take those lemons and turn them into honey with your participation. Therefore, I want to thank you so much for joining us, and please tell everyone, and tune in next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time. By the way, you can go to YouTube and Dr. Michael B. Gross and get the replays. I also have words and messages that are 10 minutes long, or you can see the Facebook Live that Tia and I do, and other things that we do. And please press the subscribe button, because as you do with YouTube, the more people subscribe, the more people will see the videos and the messages we have to deliver. So I appreciate it. Tia, is there anything you'd like to say to close?
I do. Thank you, Michael. We have almost 2 years worth of videos that we've been doing on Facebook Live on Michael's YouTube channel as well. So definitely, if you're ever in a funk, go to YouTube, Dr. Michael B. Gross, and either listen to one of his recorded messages or watch the video. The videos are only about a half an hour long, and they're powerful, and you'll know which one you need to watch or hear, because it's worked for me. I've had funky days, and I don't want to call and bug Michael all the time. So I'll get on these YouTube things and I'll listen, and I feel better after after one or maybe two. Life is challenging for all of us, and we're so blessed to have Michael in our world that who has so much to give us and offer us and to help us through those tough times. So definitely connect with him, okay? Michael, do you also offer a complimentary consultation?
Absolutely. For everybody that's new, I offer a 20-minute to a half an hour consultation. It's complimentary. You can ask any question you so desire, and hopefully I'll be able to help you with it. So feel free. The information is in the chat section, and you can either email me or call me on my telephone, my private cell number, whichever you prefer. So I want to thank all of you. I wish you well. I wish you joy. I wish you happiness because you are unlimited. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Have a
Thank
great
you,
week.
Michael. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice
Blessing.
week. We'll see you next Thursday.
We love you.